this is just about you and your work, right? So we just the supporting thing. That's what today's about. So.
Okay. No, definitely. Thank you. Wow,
That's
15 minutes late.
He's so excited about this. He loved our flyer, the
Really?
women line.
Yeah.
He like, wow.
They're joining live on it. Maybe we should comment because they're running a little late for our live viewers. In the caption, I think live is a bit so doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe we can tell them that we're running a little late.
It's like,
Oh, it should also be flashing towards noise reduction, by the way. Yeah, not noise. Can you comment?
Thank you so much.
would not sit after much. I can never have enough coffee, honestly. I gotta throw.
I know, it's so good.
This is what
And then you get wired.
I know you get wired, but
Fantastic.
then you can't relax.
My name is Judy.
I'm Menna.
Manda.
Yes, I do. I work here. I'm the CEO of the Deborah Foundation. We work with children.
So I met Dr. Sisa yesterday. He told me you guys had met before about different
You
things.
gotta get on with tomorrow.
That's
But
right.
we've been
Chatting.
texting and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we were at the conference. It was so insightful, but you know, like an all-day conference with like an all-day exhibition is so tough. Like, you know, things were like 2 hours delayed. You know, Ministry of Health ሲሆን በቃ ሲጠበቅ ፕሮቶኮል ይባላል እንደዚህ ምናምን. It was really good. It was,
I did.
oh,
Yeah.
that's so interesting because right when they're on the stage, thing is
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's the guy.
nobody's on yet. But yeah, no, it was really great. It was, yeah, I wish we didn't do more. They only had one in-person event. And there's so much potential. Yeah, but there's 30 companies, startups in health tech that were there. But mostly telemed and pharmacy. That was like the hit.
I see all the stuff you post on LinkedIn.
Oh, do you? Good.
Yeah.
I tried to
My
just...
colleague, Dr. Chris Gibbons, he is
Oh,
like,
that's your colleague. Okay, yeah, he's always...
because I'm gonna try to bring him in November. I'm coming back in November because I have a meeting in
Like next month?
Nairobi.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
No,
Okay.
26th and 22nd and 23rd is our meeting at like.
Okay.
And I sent them this. They are so excited. They're tuning in.
That's
So they want to really learn more about YeneHealth and
Definitely.
so there are about 2 or 3 of them in Kenya that are going to be
amazing.
tuning in.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And the Wi-Fi is not connected
It's
to my...
not working.
Yeah, I think 'cause a lot of us are connected to it. ሻይቡና አላልክም እንዴ? እንዴ ምና ጾም ነው? By 11:30 እንጨርሳለን። 11:30 ያው ሚሻው ሰው ሌት ሆነ እንጂ አሁን ብዙ አይደለም። ፕራይቬት አነስ ያለች ናት። ስለዚህ አይ ቲንክ ያው ጠዋት ስለሆነ ሌት ሆነ ይሆናል። ግን it's like around 20 people. Yesterday, ሞትኩኝ። በስመ አብ it was so long. Really good. ግን ፓናሉ ላይ መሳተፍ በደንብ አልቻልኩም። አመለጠኝ ምናምን it was a bit እንትን ግን ያው we tried. It was good overall. በተለይ መታወቃችን ነው that's the best part, you know? Like minded የሆኑ እንትኖች እንዳልኩ did we exchange contacts? ዛሬ ማድረግ አለብኝ። ኦ ካርድ ሰጥተኛል። ትናንትና ካርድ ሀድ ኬሚስ ምንድን ነው ስታንድ የሚያደርገው ምንድን key management service for health. Amazing.
When you want to start.
Are there people? And then so-
From where live there, a good number of people.
yeah, let's call them in because people are online live via the phone.
So I can set up a meeting when Dr. Will is here
Okay.
later on this month.
Okay.
Or yeah, I can do that. And then I'm gonna try to get Dr. Gibbons to come. He really is eager
excited
to work
at
on
it?
digital health in Africa. So
Yeah, you were saying that
eager.
last time.
Yeah.
Because I did read his. You sent me his profile because that
Yes, I sent you his profile, and he works for FCC.
Oh.
And specifically, he's
On
been doing
digital
that
health.
for like 11 years. They recruited him to do health promotion, addressing health disparities through technology,
Okay.
including digital. So this is like a passion of his.
Wow, amazing.
He just hasn't done it in African markets. If he can do it through your
Exactly.
it'd be great.
Yeah, but I'm happy to let him.
And yesterday I was meeting with Omarichek, the CEO of
Oh,
Omarichek.
yeah.
So he wanted to come today. He had RSVP to come today. And his house has a leak. And he has to move out. And so this one is, it's
Okay.
nasty. So he's moving
Yeah,
out.
like
He
I said,
coming to
you are
me
a
yesterday.
Okay.
But he'll meet with
Follow up.
you.
Perfect.
He said at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I'm going to bring people up.
Yeah.
If you can pull up my.
Can you people يجيبونا نجمر بقى؟ ها؟ انتوا يجوا. No, the old ones. We'll show the old ones. We'll go over the website. The idea is to go to do the web. Go over the web thing. Then I have the link for the Figma. Then we'll see this will be the new one that we're launching with the menstrual tracking. Then actually just go through it like yesterday with the click. It had the tablet card. Let's put it out as well. The tablet. Oh, you did? Okay, but that's fine. إيه لما أنا ما رجعت لبت. Look, if it's not flash, okay, now it's good. Noise cancellation. Oh, did you? I'm playing live jazz music.
Can you try that? Playing pop?
It's not. Is it because this is playing?
No, the video has a problem.
No.
See, it's skipping. Can you close it in the screen?
Can we have to be able to until did Mana log in? We need to post stuff on our Instagram. Just we're going live. Nom, nom, nom. Yeah.
Oh, where? The video has a problem with audio.
እዚህ ጋር ግን ቅድም እኮ የሰራ ነበር ቪዲዮ እዚህ ላይ ተሰካ ነው የሚለው what did you do to ማለከው
Jazz እየሰራ እኮ ነው።
እኮ ገረመኝ that's weird oh there we go something with the connection actually I'll do this other video
Do you have another player? Video player? I think you should put this down. Don't retype.
It's weird.
How do we want to adjust our time? We can be flexible, right?
Yeah, let's be
Just see how
flexible.
people-
Yeah.
We have a good number of people, so great.
Yeah.
I give them 2 minutes warning. Yeah,
Okay.
sit, grab whatever, then grab.
Gosh.
Gentlemen, tips is.
Bring the product company to Ethiopia, the sound of the element, and I will out of the
They're good kids.
Are they Sala and a woman and
They come after Los Angeles. Los Angeles. On her way out.
what do they study?
Around mental health? No. She's working.
Yeah, it's not working for some reason. It's fine.
Yeah, reels reels.
No. It's fine. We just won't play the video. We don't have time for it anyways. We're late. Let me see if the other videos work.
Do you have
No, but at all. It's not urgent. No, I don't have it on flash.
copy and then for YeneHealth right there we can play it by laptop.
It's something with this.
Next time, if she comes, I can connect. Right now, I think.
Should we start?
Stream you, then
It's
going okay?
no, it's about like something.
Good.
It's like
gonna
scratchy.
Be, it's videotape, right? So we'll post it
Yeah,
after it gets edited.
I'll do a backup just in case. Okay, I have yours. Should okay. Oh, shit.
Salam Inaistiling. I am so glad this is on a Saturday. Sorry, because we have mixed group, English speaking and Omnia and Amharic and speaking. So we're gonna primarily talk in English and start comedy. So if you see us just picking up in Amharic, please pause, stop us, and then we'll start speaking English. Welcome to our fantastic event on the launch of our partnership with YeneHealth and RDA and RnD. And so hopefully you love what you're going to hear from YeneHealth and all of us, and then how we can all be supportive of sexual and reproductive health in Ethiopia in partnership with YeneHealth. So when we met with this, we were very impressed. Like, wow, let's do this together because it is a primary focus of ours, RnD and also RDA. So
Hold this one.
thank you. And so what I'm going to do first, so is it which one do I? Oh,
You don't have to cook anything. I think you just have to. So I think but yes.
Oh.
This one. Is it this one? Yeah. Put it here. And then this one you
Okay,
have to
this
just
one
hold it
will
in hands
work,
for
right?
Oh.
Buzzy Bakun?
Oh, I don't. Yeah,
Done,
just
okay,
hold it. Yeah.
okay. All right. So anyway, welcome. Thank you for accepting our invitation and to be here for this absolutely fantastic event about partnership on promoting sexual and reproductive health in Ethiopia. And I'm going to go to the next slide because one of the things that we're going to do to start off is really find out who is in the room, and then also find out from your perspective about myths that you heard growing up regarding sexual and reproductive health. So you're going to talk about that in your small team. And also, what are some of the myths that actually people have about sexual and reproductive health currently? Okay, so it may have changed over a period of time. So let me give you an example. One thing, like in the U.S., is like there's blue waffle. Have you ever heard of the blue waffle? Let's see. So somehow this thing, blue waffle, came up, and people think it's a new sexually transmitted diseases where the vagina turns blue. And people actually posted, the vagina turning blue and blisters all over, and people really thought there was this phenomenon called blue vagina. I mean, this misinformation became really rampant that the Centers for Disease Control have to post huge information and campaign that there is no such thing as blue waffle. So interested in knowing then what are some of the myths that people have, because it dictates their sexual behavior. And one of the things that we want to do in partnership with YeneHealth is to demystify the myths that actually exist. So we're going to turn to then activities. So you're going to be working in small groups and getting to know each other. And we have on the next page, I have the activity for you. So it is, yeah, that one. So the Asp Breaker Activity is you're going to introduce yourself. You're going to work in teams of 4. So perhaps in your little circle, maybe we'll have three groups here, and you identify a note taker from your team that's going to take information from the discussion. You're going to introduce each other. No lengthy introduction, just name and your agency affiliation and why you're here. And then, so you're going to discuss what was a myth you heard growing up, what's the myth that's common now, and then on a scale of 1 to 4, how comfortable do you think that people in your circle are? And you can include yourself or exclude yourself. How comfortable are people talking about sexual and reproductive health? So you're gonna do the numbers individually. And then what suggestion do you have to enhance sexual and reproductive health in Ethiopia? And then prepare to present the result for the discussion. So let's have three groups, 1 here, 2 here, and 3 here to make it easier. And sorry, so there's male dominates here. So if you're fine, you're fine. So you could just stay in your room. And actually, let me give you 10 minutes because it's really important conversation. And we're going to be really flexible with our schedule. And I hope you will be flexible with your schedule as well, since we started late. And then all of us, the partners, will introduce ourselves later. So let's get started. And it's now 9:30. So let's gather at 9:40. So whoever there's a note taker or the facilitating to make all this covered in time in 10 minutes. Okay. All right, you can get started. You can stay in this room. You can huddle other places. You can use the hallway, wherever you are. So note taker, and I have cards that the note taker can use. Thank you. Yes. The note taker can take either notes on paper, or here's a card if you want it. Yeah, take charge. Fantastic. Okay. Yeah.
You want us to do all those questions in 10
Yes,
minutes?
yes, we're gonna put in 10 minutes. Yes, I know it's a challenge. Like I said, are you up for the challenge? Yes. Oh, can you put it up? Yes. Um,
It should be, I don't know.
Okay, so we're having challenges. Bringing it up. So the first thing is introduce yourselves to each other, just by name and affiliation, please. Okay. Oh, thank you. Take a picture. That's a
amazing.
good strategy. Okay, there it is. Okay.
There it is.
And I think those of us that are part of the organizing team, if we can also participate in this activity. So perhaps how about assigning you? Do you feel comfortable as a note taker? So facilitate. So we can introduce ourselves. Yeah. And now? So then, this year, and then what's the myth you heard growing up on sex? Myth
Shucks, join us.
My
Need a meal.
my parents, but my mom was very conservative and not intimidating ነበረች around health, sexual health. So I felt even like if I talk to a guy or even if I kiss a guy, I might get pregnant.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, it was like, I guess, in a kind of a way to intimidate you and just
Like,
to-
don't try it.
So it's not a myth, but it is a myth actually, but it's not a myth. It's not a myth that many people perhaps believe in. But anyway, that was it for me.
Yeah.
I'm blanking. Good, you guys go now.
Okay.
Lenny, God, it's so funny because so I grew up in the US. Good. I grew up with like Ethiopian parents. And when I people think that I'm so like American and my culture. Good. I grew up like but Babasha culture. Like I think one of them is the myth around kind of like if you have sex, you're gonna get an STD automatic, like HIV, but HIV/AIDS. I think የዛን ጊዜ with my parents' time, but HIV ምናምን በጣም ከባድ ነገር ስለነበር they kind of made it be like በቃ ያ በሽታ በቃ እንትን እንደዛ እና so I just felt like በቃ if you do that right away, like your chances of getting HIV, so it's kind of like stay away from it. So it's kind of like I grew up for a long time like thinking like sex is equal to HIV, which it isn't, but that's kind of like in my end. Like, I have a so yeah. What are myths?
It's more like reproductive ways.
Let me turn on the screen. Have you talked about it, no? What is I missed this one? Is it if you talk about it or if you do it?
So now it's your turn. No, she was saying.
Oh.
Exactly. If you have any sexual contact or anything before graduation.
Oh, graduation. Okay, that was the border.
One thing will get pregnant. I didn't know even there was a preventive mechanism
Yeah.
and everything. The other thing, and my mom was telling me that she's gonna kick me out of the house directly.
Yes.
With no even advice.
My mom said the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So Anita, I don't know about a myth, ግን like a typical I guess we have to find out everything. And ምንም I think I would kind of been except just the no answer. I'm not sure about a myth. ግን nothing. I don't think I've ever እስካሁንም talked about anything related to sexual health with my parents.
You know, it's so funny.
Never.
Interesting. The Zam one corner,
Yes,
you know, as
even.
that's
So even my brother and my own ነገርኩት እንጂ
Yeah.
so no one anytime.
So you guys talk about it with your brother? A little.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
So at least he has like some idea.
Common myths that exist now currently that you hear about. I already shared it was the blue waffle idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I think things tied to like STIs, STDs, just people thinking you can get HIV from kissing or those kind of things, which is like no, there's proper and too much. Those are still relevant today.
Not much. There's to that extent, but I think there's still bias and stigma with HIV. Contraceptives. Like fertility, I don't know.
Yeah, the big one.
That's a big one. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every married couple still especially after first encounter, because they are told by their moms if they use before getting access to one child, so they will be infertile.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's
So majority of people are getting pregnant right away after the baby. Stigma,
That's a nice thing.
your religion stigma. Religious stigma. It's also a sin.
You know, I'm so interested because there's a parent and a son over there. No, this is the first time they're being forced to do this. This is an experience. Like I think I was gonna have him go somewhere, but I was like, you know what? This is the time you have to be bold and talk about it. Oh, cool. So there are partners. Vision pharmacy, vision pharmacy. They are partners. Oh, sorry. Let me change the setting. Oh,
Is it full screen? Or like
it won't
English
let me.
post?
This even application is like this.
The next question is how comfortable? How on a scale of 1 to 4, how comfortable do people feel talking
I think
about
about you know the setting key.
No, it's here.
from our circle? From our circle. Without sex, then the second one.
Wow, is she?
Um, so my circle, we feel very comfortable. So I would say 4.
Circle being friends.
Yeah. Yeah. 4. Okay.
Oh yeah, good idea.
On a scale of 1 to 4, on a scale of 1 to 4, how comfortable do people in your circle feel talking about sex?
0.
Not comfortable? Yeah.
Even with my friends? I guess I have more of female friends. So I guess
What was the men in general know your friends now? That's interesting.
I can say
That's
it's a
0. This was 0. That's really amazing.
maybe a 2.
Wow. Your circle of friends, how comfortable do you feel talking about sexual health?
What is the scale? Which one is
From 1 to 4. 1 is the lowest, and 4 is the most
4? Yeah.
So interesting. The ladies score highest, and you score like 0 and 2.
I think that just shows the poor communication of men in general. You don't talk about anything.
Okay, so then in terms of the same question, how comfortable do you feel to talking about that with the health professional?
4. High all the way, yeah.
I feel like in such like we live in a cultural and a traditional country, there is a lot of stigma when it comes to like sexual, at least activity. So that's not for the one activity.
With the Hakim Kono. Oh, wow, that's interesting.
So that's why we're having this activity because we
I
really
want
trying
to say like maybe 3.
Yes.
Can I add one to this one? I'm really curious. What about to your partner?
Well, I mean, if you don't feel comfortable talking,
Yeah.
you shouldn't.
Is that one of the questions?
Yeah, that's one of your questions.
Oh, amazing.
So that's the
Okay.
third. That's the
Okay,
next one. So
interesting.
yeah,
4.
It's interesting. I'm not quite there. No.
Okay.
I would say maybe 2.
Abroad,
Interesting.
I feel like abroad is easier, and I don't feel anything.
So it's just about the culture.
Sexual partners having conversations.
I think the
You know, about our sexual needs. It's yeah. Really, yeah, it's very true. What about you? What made you baby?
3.5.
3.5.
They're like-
That's and last one, yeah, so we covered it with the parents. Yeah.
Reproductive health, maybe.
Yeah. How about you? You already said. Okay, very good. So what suggestions do you have to enhance sexual and reproductive health? Oh, we are already over
Yes,
time.
time.
So if you're not at the last question, so please be at the last question. So we can do 4 and 5 together. Once we just do how for enhancing communication around enhancing sexual and reproductive health and prepare them. Yeah, that's the last question.
I feel like creating a space where people can ask questions anonymously, like YeneHealth,
Yeah, exactly.
will benefit like the society because minimum negative repercussions I know. Have great kind of awareness would be the parents and what sort of help that I'm seeking, knowledge and also like to provide that because I'm missing that voice. They might not want to in that voice because now it's not at the same time that generation child feel like you have to work the institutional constitution and you have to work also on the parents.
Definitely. Yeah.
I support what was said, and this kind of forum.
Yeah.
We frequent this kind of forum to build and really the importance of including men.
And the conversation.
And as you said, that was a very great approach.
You should tell. I know.
He's talking
I know. Cool. That way he's a topic. I'm surprised. Like the topic, I was like,
he's thinking and
I'm imagining if my mom was here.
Cool.
I would have been like,
I'd be like, they need say
after the next session.
No, it's so funny because not even in this one, I felt something for them. Imagine. It's not even them. Like, did I say? So I'm like, oh wow. I'm just like, so that's how powerful the stigma is. Oh. He's like mid-20s.
So this I don't think you need to answer number
Number
4
4.
because you're already doing it. So what's your suggestion?
In addition to what I said, creating more content, and more content is like if someone needs to access ያንን ነገር ማንበብ የሚፈልግ ሰው available እንዲሆን also making it available in different languages. Yeah.
So should we get back?
Who would reward us?
I think you should. Yes. Or Mena, you should. Do it. Oh. No, you should. Well, do it. You guys can both. Good. I feel like you never be scared. Do it. She'll help you. Do it. She'll help you.
Okay, so your note taker is going to be presenting. So hopefully, the note taker, you've already selected the person who's taking notes and who's going to do the report out. Okay. So sorry to interrupt if you have not finished. It's an indication about this engaging conversation that we're having. And as a trainer, I never do icebreakers that are not related to the content of training. It really annoys me when I'm in the training and then someone does icebreaker that has totally no relation to anything that we're going to be covering. So this icebreaker is really an icebreaker. And taste, I hope you felt as you were discussing in your small group, I hope you felt the essence, the importance of this conversation that we're having today. And if you did not raise your hands, and I will personally come and talk to you. Okay, very good. So who would want to go? We have 4 teams. Oh, fantastic. We have a person that will have the floor, and your team can help assist you if there's anything that you need. Thank you for volunteering. Yes.
Thank you. So thank you very much. My name is Poli. I was in a fantastic group made of a team from John Hopkins and a team from Paulo's Hospital and from St. Paul Institute of Reproductive Health and Rights. The first point of discussion was, what was a myth you had growing up on sex, sexuality, and reproductive health? We had a number, like there are lots. I cannot specify all of them. One was about circumcision, both on male and female. While in Rwanda, we would see circumcision for male like a non-circumcised man cannot sit with other group. Like he eats with other group, the food will not taste the same. So you must get circumcised by the age of 12. So when we come to the case of Ethiopia, uncircumcised women are like assumed to have some bad behaviors. Like if someone is not behaving well in the community, they will take it because she's not circumcised. People would start saying, ah, she's not circumcised. So, and the opposite again comes back to Rwanda, because while in Ethiopia they want to shorten to, that's the circumcision. In Rwanda they want to elongate the labia, the genitalia. So, and SRH discussion are expected to trigger sexual activity. Like people wouldn't open this conversation because they may trigger adolescents to have more sexuality. That's one of the myths. And also having sexual activities during periods, and it was somehow considered as you may get pregnant during that period, because during the periods that's the egg that is coming, and if you do sexual activity during that particular moment you get pregnant. So wait until your periods are over and then you can have the sex, and you know what will come later. So and on the second point was the current now. So currently we all agreed on the one that is still existing, circumcision versus the elongation. The myths are still present currently. They are now fading out, but they are still somehow there. And also one that is still existing that we hope will eventually end. Early sex, having early sexual activity can prevent dysmenorrhea. Some women are being misled, being told that when they have pain during menstruation, that if they do sexual sex, like having sex with a man, that the pain would go away. And we scaled on the third one, the comforts. On this one, we had mixed. I wouldn't go and ask a healthcare provider. So you can understand there is a mixed. I wouldn't go and ask a healthcare provider. So you can understand there is a mixed one there. So the healthcare professionals scored 4, and on C, who are with their sexual partner, we scored it 3. On D and the E, we did not have much discussion about the E is with, oh no, C was with professionals, which scored 4, and B with, what is A? So there's no A.
Yeah.
What's
A is the first
The
one.
first one.
The first question, 3 is
Ah,
A
okay.
itself. Yeah.
Okay, with each other is 3 point something. 4 with partners, C with their sexual partners, and with their parents here we went a little bit conservative and we want to hear from others. On 4, we had suggestions. So it's clear that the world is moving toward a more technological arena, and we think having more digital technology where people can access information themselves, not being influenced by others, and trusted media, and working on youth-friendly media. These are our points, and we believe others will add more. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So thanks for being daring. What about the second group? And it is really great to have brought different cultural perspective, Ethiopian and Rwandan. So very interesting. I learned so much new information. Okay, so we go next, and we're going to move it faster pace a bit to get through everything. Okay, Dr. Ruth. Yeah. It's really interesting. In America, there's a sex expert. Her name is Dr. Ruth. So I
know that lady.
You know that
I
lady?
know
Oh my
that
gosh,
lady.
she's very
Very
famous. Yes. So Dr. Ruth.
Hey guys, how are you? So I came from another fantastic group. We are from KMS Health Consultancy, Yakati 12 Hospitals, and Paulers, and myself from Angola. We had a great conversation, but we did not get to scale. So you have to forgive me on that. We were very much taken aback with the myths and the facts we have in Ethiopia when we were younger, and what are the myths right now. So growing up, talking about sexual reproductive health was a taboo, right? Especially if a woman says something about reproductive health, she'll be considered as balege. Why would you talk about that? So growing up like that, and yes, if a woman is not circumcised, she would be too fast, balege, she would break stuffs. So if a woman is a bit hyperactive, she's like or she's not being circumcised. So there's a myth, if a woman is circumcised, she would be more timid. If not, she would be, out there. The other thing is people are comfortable talking about reproductive parts in English, like virginity, reproductive. But in Amharic, nobody wants to say that, right? It's too out there. So this days the myth are we're okay talking about virginity, reproductive organs, but everything is mahasab for women. And yes. The other taboo is culture challenge. People are not very much comfortable talking about these things out there, right? Not with your family, not with your even colleagues. Professional people are not happy to talk about reproductive health. So our colleagues were saying, even professional, like people who have education, with so much problem, they will not be open to talk about it. So that's one of the cultural challenges we have. The second question is, what are the couple of, I think these are, I think I kind of juggled both of them. So we did not score on the third one. What suggestions do you have to embrace the sexual and reproductive health? One is, as a professional, we have to be open to talk about this, right? Break the culture. So, and then post or advocate for productive health and work on talking about it candidly with our friends. And I think that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Yeah, covered a lot of territories. Very interesting. Well, I'll just share one thing about me. I am a Gojami on one side. Okay, so you know what they say about that. And I did not know until I was grown. And so those of you that don't know
Can you
what
just take
that means,
pictures on your
who
phone?
doesn't know
She was supposed to get my
about
phone
what
is
they say
getting
about
recorded now.
Gojami
You need to
girls?
friends our Instagram
Oh,
posts.
there are a few that do not know what they. Wow. Okay.
Mine is
No,
just she was
quite
using
a
hers
lot
like a
of you
flash
do not know about
while people are
Gojami.
presenting. Just
So
take like one or two
they
good
said
it's just our
Gojami
story.
girls are the least circumcised in Ethiopia. So so there's this notion that, oh, you have a Gojami girlfriend? Wow, you're lucky. Like that's what they like said, because they think Gojami girls are sexually active, and that they're because they're the ones that are supposed to be circumcised. So okay, this is about knowledge building and sharing input. Yes, okay, so that's good. So the next person, okay, the next team. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. How are you guys? We had quite the interesting group too. I think we had a couple generations in there. Me and my mom are from Kishan. Yodi's here, Manna's here from the Foundation, and yeah. So when we're talking about the myths that we heard growing up, and it was kind of harder for me because we had some education. The internet is more available in our time, but you know we discussed that shame around periods was a big topic, and shame discussing it, shame when you're having it, and this cultural idea of that. And another great idea we had from Menna was postpartum depression and women's postpartum mental health. That's something that we feel like goes by the wayside. We don't really discuss it much, and it's a profound thing that's not really discussed. I completely forgot it was even a thing sometimes. Yeah. Gunful be you gotta eat your gunful, sit with family. It kind of gets pushed, and you're expected to act a certain way after you have a baby. Like you should be loving your baby, this that. I think that was a very significant point. And yeah, so when we were talking about some of the myths that exist currently, it's we have a cultural taboo and the whole ideology of discussing sex. And me and my mom personally, we had a case study, and we've never had that discussion. My mom's a health professional, my dad's a health professional, and we still haven't had those discussions. Even though we're open about other topics, my parents are educated, I'm educated, and we still haven't had those discussions. And it shows like how deeply rooted it is in the culture to not discuss, even amongst the most educated and open people. Religion was also another one. So religiously, there's a religious taboo within families. There's a hierarchical system where it's like, shouldn't really shoot into the parents, the uncles, and should stay here and not really have open discussions about that. The generational gap too, like something that my mom was saying. I mean, we work together, we live together, we do all this stuff together, but still, there's that generational gap of the older generation saying, I didn't discuss that with my family, so we don't really discuss it with you guys. And that's something that's also kind of being passed down generationally. Educational systems, for example, if you're going to international school, a good school that has good teachers and good systems, it's like, yeah, you'll have a chance of maybe discussing some sex education, like me and Muna had, even though it was brief, but in slightly more like impoverished and poor societies, that's not even an option to even ever have that discussion. Another one is fear, fear amongst peers, amongst the older generation, amongst adults. That's also something. So when we got to the scale question, we did a little bit. So we said that we had varied results actually. And we being, I think I'm the youngest, but I was the one that was least comfortable discussing with my friends. As men, sometimes it's kind of difficult to have those discussions without, sexual health. So yeah, we had some mixed ideas, but Manna and Yuri said that they were more comfortable discussing that with their peers, and also it's something to do with exposure and living abroad and having those international ideas of being open to it, and that exposure is also. We got the health professionals. That's as far as we got. But yeah, we were all pretty comfortable discussing with our health professionals, as it is kind of a good barrier to discuss, because it's a health issue and you trust doctors are trusted, health professionals are more trusted, so it's easier to have those discussions with them. But yeah, we had an interesting group.
Thank you for sharing. So I think all phenomenal group discussion and daring conversations and must do. So the last group, I think we have only one more group left, and we're going to be represented by a gentleman.
I don't know, so I'm not sure if I could represent
Yeah, iPhone.
Thank you guys. So we had an amazing group as well. So I wasn't told that I wasn't going to be presenting, so I didn't keep notes. So apologies for what I'm about to present. So the first one was the myth you heard growing up on sex, sexuality, and health. So one thing mentioned in our group was, so even in high school, Anna mentioned if girls have a bigger breast, there was a common misconception in it that they are having sex at that time, and that was uncomfortable for girls at that time. The next myth was, you want to help me, man? Get up here.
The stigma around HIV and how it affects our society.
Another myth is that anything that you do would lead to pregnancy, and then you got to be kicked out of home from the family.
Before graduating college, anything related to sex could lead to pregnancy was one of the myths.
What are the couple of common myths that currently exist? We should have write it down. Let's skip to the next one. On a scale of 1 to 4, how comfortable were we discussing sexual reproductive health with each other?
With friends, all of the women said that
4.
it was a 4.
Same with the group.
The only one man that we have said it was a 2.
I think it said 0. 1
He
to
said
4.
0 and then jumped to 2.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess men don't communicate after all. Next one being with the health professional.
The health professional, at this, Rabkan Gaplayan who said 4, I believe, and I said 3.
Same.
Yeah.
3 over 2.
As well.
Okay. Just in general, the comment, just like the cultural intent that is
Yeah, there's a lot
influences?
of like restrictions, especially for like younger people in Ethiopia regarding the health sector.
Yeah.
So
Even if it's professional, we still, I think, have
yeah, the culture would definitely affect it.
And with our parents.
It's a 0 for me. But I feel like everyone had the same answer for that.
Yes. One more we have with a sexual partner.
4 for me.
And I think in general we scored around 4.
Yeah.
One person said 3.
You said 2.5.
Oh, and 3. What suggestions do you have to enhance sexual and reproductive health in Ethiopia?
We said creating a space where people can ask questions anonymously, and also spreading awareness through creating content.
Creating more content available for everyone to use and in different languages, accessible to everyone.
And
These kinds of
yeah, this kind of the general questions.
And that's it. Thank you very much.
Great, wonderful. And I hope you were able then to see the purpose of having this conversation. So it's really to dig deep into our childhood, to really think and reflect back about the myths that we have growing up and how they are different than current myths, and how those myths influence how we talk about sex and sexuality and reproductive health with our partners, with our parents, and with our health professionals. So thank you for that information. So we're gonna, we spent quite a lot of time, so we're gonna go at faster pace and move forward. But this conversation is really a great information to build, especially on Giddes' presentation on the surveys that they have done around people's beliefs and attitudes around sexual health. So we're gonna just briefly introduce the partnering organizations, and I represent 2. I represent RnD Associates in the U.S. and RDA Africa. So I'm the founder and co and CEO of both. So RnD in Ethiopia, in America, focuses on capacity building, so training media, training health professionals, training youth, and training people that work with youth, and training nonprofit programs on building their capacity to impact communities in which they work. So I'm just going to say briefly, that is it, and move on. And I'm going to bring Giddes from YeneHealth and Dr. Ayantu from RDA, who works on our health pillar, to say a little bit about RDA and then YeneHealth. Thank you.
So, good morning. Just to introduce myself, I'm Dr. Ayantu, mainly working in St. Paul's Hospital, Medical College, and also working at here at RDA Associates, and I'm mainly leading the health pillars. And if I say about this, and I would like to thank each and every one of you. And recently we are also, different trainings, become national or international accredited trainings, and we can professionally certify those trainings. And we also do the analysis and promotion of gender equity in health education management and PMP certification at the same time. We also provide Asp certification trainings. And we do have also other pillar, which is the engineering and the manufacturing. In engineering and manufacturing, we do have project management, PMP preparation trainings, quality assurance, mainly the ISO, and contract management, and the like. And the last is hospitality and tourism, and we do have requirements, brand standard audits, employee surveys, and financial and internal reviews. At the same time, we do trainings across all our health engineering and hospitality and tourism, the ISO. This is just a mini presentation about our day. I hope we will work together with each of you in the future, and thank you for being with us. So now I will welcome Giddes so that you can tell us about this YeneHealth, which is the most important fintech application, and she's the creator and the founder of YeneHealth. Just welcome Giddes to the.
Thank you. All right. No, move this. No. No, move this over to the side. Not blocking. So hey everyone, how's everyone doing? Good? How do you guys feel after the activity that Rivka did? Do you feel a relief? Are you gonna go home and talk about this at your house? Maybe? Yeah, I think it's a great icebreaker, not only for us in here, but it just shows you the importance of the topic we'll be discussing and obviously what YeneHealth is working on. So thank you again for all coming. I know most of you guys. I'm Qadist. I am the founder and CEO of YeneHealth. Also, our team members are here. They'll get a chance to introduce themselves as well. We did launch our company back in March 2022. So I think some of you were there, but we have new faces as well. So this will kind of be a recap of what have we done since then, where did we start from, and then later on we'll talk about, how did we get here? How did we come up with YeneHealth? How did we decide on what to provide in Ethiopia? We'll discuss about that. So we at YeneHealth are trying to unlock the digital door for health services for Ethiopian women, but also women across Africa. So our mission is quite simple. It's to enhance women's confidence and reproductive health through personalized learning, information, management, and access to products. Our vision is a world where women get the care that they deserve. So it's really speaking on long-term down the road. We really feel like currently women aren't getting what they deserve. So we want to work towards the service industry as well, making sure that they have a better experience. And I'll talk a little bit about that. So in Ethiopia, our focal beneficiaries are women of reproductive age. So these are women between the age of 15 to 49. So anyone between 15 to 49, that's your reproductive age. So we're focusing on targeting women from that group. But also in Ethiopia has one of the highest numbers when it comes to unmet need. So 24.4% of women in Ethiopia have an unmet need, which means that they are underserved. So they lack access to contraception, family planning services, it can be information and so on. So we're also really targeting identifying who are the most underserved and how can we also serve them. So we've segmented our audience into 3 different groups as YeneHealth. So we have the first group that we're focusing on are the middle and upper income women of urban areas. The second group are high school and university students, including adolescent youth. And the last group of women the third group of women that we focus on is marginalized women. So these are women in rural Ethiopia, last mile health, that have lower literacy rates and have the most access when it comes to the service we're talking about. And I think I'll talk a little bit about the findings we had, which is really interesting, and how we came to these 3 common problems. Whether it's a woman in rural Ethiopia or a woman in Addis Ababa that we spoke to, we found 3 common problems that women had. And this is what YeneHealth is trying to solve. So women face stigma. So even in today's activity, we saw the stigma there is, even just talking about the topic. But imagine when it comes to, a woman, a teen that's pregnant, doesn't know what to do, there's stigma. She needs to have a procedure, doesn't know where to go, and doesn't know who to talk to. So it becomes real when you're actually a woman living that life. So the stigma is really important. It's a big problem. The second problem, like I mentioned earlier, is the unmet need. There's a huge number of women that still lack the access to these services, all services, not only products, but again, information, access to education, and so on. And the third problem that we've identified is when we compared Ethiopia to other countries, Ethiopian women scored the lowest when it comes to SRH and family planning in terms of their knowledge level. So again, the idea around information, awareness, and knowledge was a key point that we want to address as YeneHealth. So what we've designed is a one-stop shop. So we are a femtech startup, which means that we're using technology to enhance women's health. So our online digital platform is available on web, Android and iOS, and it has 4 main kind of services that it provides. So there's the learning feature. We have a learning portal where women can go on there, go through content in Amharic, English, Orominya, Tigrinya. We're developing all the languages right now. We have an e-pharmacy where we make products available to women. Oftentimes, as you know, the supply chain is quite difficult in Ethiopia, but also finding the right pharmacy to go to where where there's no stigma in those pharmacies, but also creating that lens, that gender lens to serve women in a better light, right? So working on the pharmaceutical side as well, and then delivery. So we offer discrete packaging and delivery. One of the things around these products is that nobody wants to, share that they're using a product. So the delivery piece is really important, and the discreteness behind it. And lastly, support. So we also have features on the application that support women, but we're building a partnership with local NGOs as well, like MSI, to utilize their call center. So if there's a woman that doesn't have access to a smartphone, she can call the call center and say, hey, this happened to me, I need this, where do I go? And we can still serve those women that may not have smartphones as well. So how it works is quite simple. A user from the safe and privacy of their home, they download our app or go on our website. They can learn, monitor, and track their pregnancy, their fertility, their menstruation. They can shop and order for products. We also have, again, the discreet delivery available. And lastly, we link them to support lines. We're also thinking about expanding and offering different linkages through labs and different things that women may need, again, to give them a better experience around accessing services. So just to give you a quick idea of kind of our learning content, let's see if it's going to load for us. We develop content that is that's simple enough for people to understand. It's a bit choppy here. Here, I'll play it here. So for example, this is one of the videos we have, a glimpse by offering different languages that are spoken in Ethiopia. So most of our videos right now are all in Amharic, but we're also having it in Orominya and Tigrinya as well. So this is also just, again, a glimpse of that. And we'll go over the demo later so you can see what it actually looks like on our platform and how we're. So when you think about it, what do women really get from this digital platform? I told you kind of what services we provide, but it's actually more than that. There's value that we're creating for the journey for the woman. So they're gaining self-agency and self-control by being able to monitor their health, being able to control it, being able to manage it, but also accessing things in one spot. So they're not feeling like it's fragmented. So it's all in one place. They have a variety of product choices. So we recently actually launched a partnership with Yishan Pharmacy, and they're actually here with us today. So we're working with like-minded pharmacies and service providers to really make sure that we can make products available more and accessible. So working with similar organizations like that, offering a variety of products, learning without stigma and judgment. So as many of you guys know, in Ethiopia, the first kind of contact person when it comes to being sick or getting medicine is the pharmacist, right? So you go to a pharmacy and you have that initial interaction with that pharmacy. And what happens is there's a lot of provider-induced stigma from that. So the pharmacist, let's say a woman comes up to them and says, oh, I want to get a birth control or a post pill. There's going to be judgment, again, just because of our society, how we grew up and all these things. So by using our digital platform, we're kind of getting rid of that awkwardness, that judgment, that stigma. So women can feel open to say, hey, I need to get some post pills. Is that the best thing for me? Then she can learn through our app without having to face anyone with these videos, with the content, and be able to make informed decisions to kind of tackle this thing. Again, the discrete ordering and delivery, menstrual tracking. So we'll be introducing the first menstrual tracking in Ethiopia made for Ethiopian women by using our own calendar as well. So we've really taken time to understand our users and make it very, very contextual to our needs. So we'll be launching that in the next few weeks, but we'll show you guys today a soft launch of that. Pregnancy planning and monitoring as well, where you can monitor and plan your pregnancies ahead of time based on a woman's reproductive goal. We'll align it using artificial intelligence to tell her, if you're trying to get pregnant, this is your most fertile window. You can try this time. If you're trying to avoid getting pregnancy, these are the methods that you can use. So we really try to understand her needs and give those services. The nurse support line I mentioned earlier in partnership with MSI. We also, not recently, but a few months back, started a peer-to-peer Telegram community group for women. That was one thing we found in our survey. I'll talk about it later. But a community where women can just ask questions to each other, share ideas, saying, hey, I want to give birth here. Where's the best place, right? These are little things that women want to talk about, but they can do that with other women that want to take more control over their health. And then we recently launched a feature called Ask YeneDoctor, where we've onboarded 18 doctors here that offer their expertise and answer questions to women. So if a woman wants to go on our platform and says, I'm thinking about getting an IUD, what should I be concerned about? Our doctor will respond to her by saying, hey, these are, this is what it is, this is side effects, and so on. So really trying to push them to be more open about these topics and normalizing that. So our theory of action is quite straightforward as well. We believe that if women have direct access to the information and a broad range of product choices, then their uptake of these products will also, and their overall health will be improved, including their self-agency. So we really strongly align with SDGs 3, 5, and 17 to work towards bigger global agendas as well. Kind of talked about this. So this is what our platform looks like. You learn, shop, connect, and control. We'll go through the demo in a bit so you'll get to see. Ultimately, what we're really trying to create at YeneHealth is create synergy amongst the different actors within a woman's reproductive health life cycle. So there's everything around infrastructure, health, there's care centers, there's policy, counseling, there's the pharmaceutical side, there's the clinical side, there's the women's rights side, there's the education and awareness side. So we want to play a role by using our platform to link all of these things so that women can be a part of it, and also providers can talk to each other in that way. So Ethiopia is our starting point, like I mentioned earlier. We're starting in Ethiopia, it's our home. We think that it's needed here, but we definitely plan to grow and scale across Africa. It's actually expected by 2050 by UNICEF that women of reproductive age across Africa will reach 500 million. That's a massive population that needs to be served. So we believe that using digital can really help us reach the most number of women at the least possible cost as well. So this is the mass kind of scale we're trying to reach and the impact that we're aiming for. So we are a women-led and women-centered organization. We have great men on our team as well. This is our team right now, our super team. We have over 37 years of experience in healthcare, management, policy, operations, finance, supply chain, and so on. So we're a global team of young people that truly care about the topic. And a few of the faces are here. You'll get to meet them. And these are our doctors that I mentioned earlier that we just onboarded. We have 18 female doctors, and that was by design. Again, we really took time to apply the human-centered design to our approach, where we took time to understand, ask women, who do you feel most comfortable with talking about these things? And they always said, we want to talk to a woman doctor or a female. So we've taken that feedback and said, okay, let's just first bring in women. We definitely do want to be more inclusive and add men as well, but this is what the women said to us. So we're kind of going with what they said. Obviously, there's lots of actors in this room. We made it a very intimate event today, just stakeholders and partners that we have, like-minded organizations. But we always love your support in terms of anything around advisory, funding, reaching more women, partnerships, and advocacy. One of our pillars with the partnership today is also around these things: partnership, advocacy, building capacity with healthcare providers, but also getting this product available for women across. So I invite all of you guys to check us out if you haven't. I'm sure you have, and be a part of it. We're here, obviously, because we are mission aligned. And that's, I think, about it, about YeneHealth. If we go back to the agenda, yes, so the next agenda, we have a special guest with us today, Dr. Tesfaye Hurisa. He's the director of the St. Paul Institute for Sexual and Reproductive Health. So I would like to invite him. He'll be talking a little bit about kind of what is the state of SRH in Ethiopia, and also what are they working on in their institution. He'll shine a little light around that, and we'll have a chance for Q&A after that during the panel discussion.
We would
Thank
like to welcome Dr. Tesfaye just to have a brief presentation.
Here's this my
Hold this one.
experience.
Just hold the dress.
Here's my experience as a director of the institute, and also as someone who's working closely with the Ministry of Health and working in the RH landscape in Ethiopia for the past 15 years. I will share my experience and the role of probably some of the digital health in improving the SRH environment in Ethiopia. So the name of my institute is called St. Paul Institute for Reproductive Health and Rights. It's located inside St. Paul Hospital in the American College. I think everybody in this room knows St. Paul Hospital, so I will try to do that. Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay, so I think everybody knows St. Paul Hospital in the American College. So it's one of probably the largest maternity hospital in the country. So this institution is located inside the hospital. Initially, we were functioning as Center of Excellence within the college. So the initial vision was making the college a Center of Excellence in Sexual and Reproductive Health in East Africa. So we started the project, but later on, due to the governmental bureaucracies and other problems, we couldn't function as much as we needed. So we came out independently as an independent civil society organization in 2019. So it's a very young organization. Its name is, as I've said, it's St. Paul Institute for Reproductive Health and Rights. So St. Paul stands where we are physically landed. So we have four major pillars. We work on training, research, advocacy, and clinical service. We support the only fellowship program in Africa that's called the Family Planning and Reproductive Health Fellowship.
it's a 2-year program post OBGYN training, so we do have some of our fellows in this program. In addition to this, we support research and also training capacity of medical students, residents, and fellows. So this is basically what we are doing. Maybe I will expand more based on your question. But somehow I need to share you a story which can be somehow relevant to why we are today. So some 4 months back, there was a publication by a British philosopher and author on Ethiopian SRHR. So this publication was a kind of a commentary, and it talks about the change in Ethiopian abortion law and how that didn't bring a change, it actually harmed the woman, and it increased maternal morbidity and mortality. So this publication was authored by a non-Ethiopian person, no Ethiopian was involved in this commentary, and it comes to us as a shock, it was distributed widely throughout the country, and then following that, this same author was going throughout the world and speaking about his publication, how he has started making an influence in Ethiopia. So we had to do something about it because it's total misrepresentation of what's happening in Ethiopia. So basically, the paper says that following the safe abortion law in Ethiopia in 2005, the women of Ethiopia are not benefiting from the changing law. So it says actually maternal morbidity and mortality has increased by liberalizing the abortion law. So it was wrong for several reasons, but mainly for someone who is a non-Ethiopian, a solo author writing about Ethiopia was wrong. And if, as someone who has stayed in the research environment for, some years, I would immediately, reject this paper because, someone who is not Ethiopian cannot write about Ethiopia without involving at least one author in the literature. But somehow he got away and he published a paper on the giant Ethiopian medical journal. So we sat together, the Ministry of other stakeholders to sat together, and then we thought what we can do about this. Because the paper was disseminated globally throughout the world. Beyond that, he was, giving a speech, giving an interview about what we are done in the country. And then, after this first gathering together with the stakeholders in the country, we made several plans, and 3 months later, we wrote an extensive review on the paper, and then we published in the same journal, outlining the falsifications, the misrepresentation of the data, and all the flaws have been outlined and published on the same journal. So this paper was published in a couple of weeks back on the same journal. So somehow we have tried to buffer the adverse effect of this publication. So why is this talk relevant to our topic? As someone who has led this initiative, I have seen a huge gap in data. So over the last nearly 20 years, I was trying to do literature review to see what data we have on abortion, what data we have on family planning. There was almost nothing. It was really difficult. Data were distributed here and there, and the figures are they are not consistent to each other. And we use classic paper-based method of data capturing. It was really hard to capture data. So I think this is where the digital health plays a critical role in transforming the data. Again, recently, if you have read a publication by Dr. Leah, she was stressing the importance of data, the impact of data on countries' development. So everything that we do is built up on quality data that we get. So unless we transform the way of work, our work towards a digital form, then capturing data, everything will be very, very difficult. So I think the role of digital health in capturing data, in documenting data, I think will be huge. So if you have a data, if you have an electronic registration, if you have good data out there which are registered electronically, things would have been much easier for us. So this is one of the areas that we are really working in, that I really hope we continue to work with YeneHealth. With technical and financial support, we are transforming the one branch of St. Paul Hospital. If you know the Center for Reproductive Medicine, it's a branch of St. Paul Hospital around Ireland. So we entirely supported that institution to transform from paper-based to electronic-based. So everything has now changed to electronic-based approach. And then we take that experience and now we are trying to transform St. Paul Hospital fully into an electronic-based registration and documentation. But this is not enough. We are a country of more than 110 million people, so the demand is there. We really need to join hands and work together to transform the country's documentation, the country's health. Beyond that, as an instructor, as someone who teaches medical students, residents, and fellowship, I have seen a changing pattern. If we want to improve access, if we want to improve, safe abortion access, SRS, family planning access, we need to transform our service. Now, most young generations spend much of their time, more than 80-90% of their time on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. So the classic teaching of classroom methods or classic paper-based method cannot work anymore. So I think we need to come out on TikTok, we need to talk on Facebook, on other digital technologies so that we can have the young generation, help the young generation access SRS. So I think what YeneHealth is doing is amazing. I've been able to attend the first launching meeting 3 months back. They have done a lot of work in probably few months time. So I hope we continue to work together. Congratulations again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shasai. Just to say a little about Dr. Shasai, he is a department head of St. Paul's Medical College. He is department head of Reproductive and he's a gynecologist and obstetrician, subspecializing. He has also subspecialized on family planning and reproductive health. And he has a very good experience, both a national and global experience on sexual and reproductive health. And we're so happy to have you here and to share this beautiful experience today. And he has also authored a a growing number of scientific publications in both international and local papers. And we hope we are going to work together in the line of launching this sexual reproductive activity program. And as you said, we have to transform ourselves. We have to work on the generation. And I think St. Paul's is a very good example to bring this change in the generation, because I have the St. Paul's colleagues here, because St. Paul's has really invested in the line of sexual and reproductive health, at the same time family planning, starting from the internship and lower grades of the transfer. I hope we're going to develop this in any aspect, and thank you. So next, Chris is going to present the YeneHealth survey that they found, and I'm going to invite Chris back here. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. All right, I am back. Thank you so much, Dr. Tesfaye, as well. Again, from your support, I think since the first day, about 7-8 months ago, when we had shared about YeneHealth, he's been so supportive and guiding us as well on how we should do things and so on. So we definitely appreciate your unyielding support on this agenda. So part 2 of the day is going to look like, it's going to take us back to how we started YeneHealth. Why are we working in the pharmaceutical space? Why are we working in the learning and education space? Why are we working on SRH in general? And we did lots of our own internal data gathering surveys to kind of understand women, understand what are their issues for them, how would they like to be treated, and how could we support that. So I'll go over the 2 surveys that we looked at, the demographics of the participants and the key findings. We took two surveys. One was about the educational piece of it. How do women think about SRH content, learning, resources, and also from the pharmacy side, how do women access products, and what's their experience like when they're ordering products and so on. And then we have a few testimonies, and we will jump into the app demo so we can see how it actually works today. So we surveyed 241 women within our network. So these are women that we sent through via text, LinkedIn, Facebook, different social media platforms. So they're women that are around Addis Ababa, focusing on this area. And we had 166 participants on the SRH product pharmaceutical side, Then we had 75 participants on the educational side. The purpose, again, like I said, was to gather data on their relationship experience and how they seek for these products and information around SRH. The age of the women that we surveyed were between 17 and 45. And this is a very interesting thing. So the education level of the women that took the survey, as I said earlier, we shared through our own networks. They're educated women, as you can see, with bachelor's degrees, master's, even PhD level women that took the survey. So it will kind of shine light on the findings that I'll discuss. So keep this in mind. The marital status of the women, 72% of them were single, 20% of them were married, 6% were in a relationship, and 2% were engaged or women. So this kind of fits into largely the single women that responded. So we also asked them, before we even developed the application, we asked, what kind of phone do you have? We wanted to make it accessible as possible. Obviously, we all know Android is the most used in Ethiopia. This validated our assumption. 68% of them used Android, 31% used iOS, and 1% didn't use either. So they used a different platform. So I'm going to go over quickly our key findings that were really interesting from the survey. We asked the question, what form of contraceptive have you used before? 71% said that they didn't use contraceptives at all. And the 29% that used it mentioned that they used this with combination contraceptive use, birth control, emergency pills, and IUD. That's the breakdown of it. But there's some that are using it, but mostly they're not using it. And we'll talk about kind of why they're not using it. So how do you track your contraception use? We asked them. If you're using it, how did you track it? So many of them said that they just remember when to take it. So if they're taking the pill, they just remembered on their own when it was needed. The 18% that said that they didn't use or that they used contraceptives said that they didn't track it at all. 18% of them also said that they use a reminder, like an alarm setting on their mobile app to remind them to take it. 9% said that they use a formal writing system to do that. And 4.5% of them actually are using a mobile app right now to track their contraception. We found that very, very interesting. We asked them, why did you start? Obviously, we talked about misconceptions in the beginning. So we want to understand, what do people think of contraception, especially in this group that we're focusing on? Many people think that it's only used for protection from pregnancy, but lots of women also use it to manage their period pain and so on. So as you can see in this data, 73% of them said it was for that reason. So they were trying to avoid pregnancy. 18% of them did say that they were using it to regulate their menstruation, and 9% didn't say anything about that. So with that question also, we asked from a scale of 1 through 10, how comfortable were they in speaking on the phone with a professional? We were thinking about having a call center, the MSI partnership. So we wanted to validate, would they be comfortable over the phone to talk about these things? Over 73% of them said over 5, which means they're moderate to very comfortable. So getting on the phone, talking about these issues, they're comfortable. But 27% of them scored below 5, which meant they were not comfortable. So they were not happy or comfortable to talk on the phone about these topics. Then we wanted to dig a little bit further into what products or what platform or what mediums are they using in terms of the digital space. So we asked them, what are you using? 62% said they use a combination of computers or just computers, online like web. 9.4% they only used mobile apps, and then 28% said that they used both a combination of mobile and computer, which again had us thinking about, okay, so women are actually using websites, but they also are interested in doing mobile. So it kind of brought us to that journey of ideation before we started. And we found some of their testimonies really interesting when we asked them about stigma related to education. So one woman said, I wish there was a specific subject for this area while we were in high school, or even before that, because it would have answered many questions about our body and so many related questions. Another woman said, if health professionals providing the service were more friendly and less judgmental towards younger women. And then another one said, I wish I could talk with other women regarding issues freely. And then in terms of products, we also asked them, or in terms of education as well, regarding side effects of products, we asked, what is your preferred source of information? As you can see, 57% of women, like many of us today, said that they prefer to learn about these things online. 30% of them said medical professionals, and 8% of them said they prefer talking with peers, their friends, their schoolmates, and so on. And then we asked the same question around the stigma relating to accessing products in the pharmaceutical space. What were their testimonies? So one person said, from my experience, most medical professionals in this area are not willing to provide consultancy on reproductive health, simple checkups. It even gets worse if you ask them to get a checkup on STD issues. They judge, they mistreat, they don't provide the test, etc. Another person said, even buying period pads is seen as taboo, and it's quite disheartening to actually go out and try to purchase items for sexual health when even the most natural of things is seen as shameful. And then another testimony was, we're raised in a way to think that it's shameful to find ourselves in that situation. So the biggest challenge is to find the courage to actually go and buy and face the pharmacist, the doctor, or even ourselves. So again, these really showed us how much these experiences are a challenge to women when they're accessing these products. Not only products, but also information. Similarly, we asked what was their preferred source of information about education, menstruation, family planning. Top was online, then medical professionals, then peer-to-peer. So the three kind of challenges that came out from this survey that women had on these areas was stigma. As we said, 23% of women said that stigma was a big challenge. Availability and access. So this is about services, this is about products. So women didn't feel like products were available or accessible. And lastly, the choice of the products. So there are products, but they're limited. Or sometimes they're out of stock. So they want to get something and it's like, oh, we're out, then they can't access it. So choice was another important thing that we found. And the last question we asked was, how do you track your menstrual cycle? So this was actually surprising for us because we didn't think many people tracked that was one of our assumptions, but which was kind of right. 47% did not track formally, but 44% did track. They are using mobile apps. They are using mobile apps that were from abroad, right? From Europe, US-based kind of mobile apps. And then 9% used a calendar method, so manually tracking their menstruation. So what? So I mean, what does this mean to us? So we started from here. We sat down, analyzed this data, and realized how can we take what they said and design something that truly can help them have more self-agency and take control of their health. And there were 7 key takeaways that we took from this. So this really showed us, with our small survey that we did, that there's a need for the use of digital means to bridge the SRH education gap. So people are on their phones, like Dr. Tesfaye said earlier, and it's a big opportunity for us to tap into that space and use that to spread awareness and education on products, services, and so on. There was a need to design a user-friendly and judgment-free experience for women. So the current available experience, again, is not made for women in a compassionate way. So we had to think about how are we presenting ourselves, all the way from branding all the way to the service delivery. We had to think about that experience. The third thing was that there is the need for better SRH product choices. Hence the fact that, again, we're really working closely with our pharmaceutical partners to make sure that new contraceptive methods are being brought to the country. There's more availability, there's more stock available. So that was one thing. The fourth was that there was a need for early education in high schools. So a lot of the unaware or the misinformation and the lack of awareness came from the fact that women didn't have these things taught in high school, right? So they become adults. And as you saw, these are educated women, right? These are women that have college degrees with PhDs. They still felt like they don't know much about it. They want to know, they need these things. So that was very interesting for us. So we saw that this has to be, for the next generation of women to be more empowered and educated in this subject area. We have to include this in high schools. And then the need to make sure that SRH services and tracking simpler and easy to fit around somebody's lifestyle. If you tell somebody you have to go there and do it, it's like, oh, it's another thing, it's not important. But if you can somehow blend it into somebody's lifestyle, they're already on the app, they're already doing other things, then it makes a kind of a habit, right? So, oh, tracking my menstruation is normal. I'm doing it as a lifestyle. So thinking about it as a lifestyle for that long-term reproductive life cycle. And the last two, so women, again, so we talked about the educated women. The last one was we need to work on supporting adolescent girls as well. So some of the youngest girls starting their menstruation are dealing with these issues. They're dealing with things that they have to talk about these things. So how do we design something that's also more appropriate for adolescents compared to more older adults or older women? And what we did was we took action, right? So we found out this information, we analyzed it, we saw the key findings, and we said, okay, let's get to work. So that's kind of how YeneHealth actually became what it was. So all of the platforms that I mentioned, the features, came from these findings, so they were informed. So we developed a user-friendly web and mobile application, made super easy, simple to use for women. We created a peer-to-peer women's SRH Telegram group that I mentioned earlier because they said they wish they had peer-to-peer conversations. And then because of the high school education and all of that feedback that we got, we're in discussion with 2 schools to introduce some level of SRH into high schools. So we'll be piloting for that. We're in discussion and trying to get funding to do that project. We partner with Gishan Pharmacy to offer the product choice. That was a key finding of, I don't find everything that I want different choices. So again, working with partners as such. And we're in the final discussion with MSI to finish the call center integration. So we can try to make sure that also that can be available for women. We launched the Ask Any Doctor feature for women to also open up and ask questions to us. And we're flowing that information and sharing to empower them to talk about it. And lastly, the period tracking. We found that to be super important and people were actually doing it. So we're going to be launching that in a couple of weeks, but we'll show you guys kind of a reveal of how it's going to look today. And that is all. So let's jump into the platform. Let me just show you guys quickly the web app first. How many of you guys have you checked our web app before? The raise of hands? Okay, awesome. So we've made a simple user-friendly design. So this is our web app. There's about us, services, contact. But let's jump into the main feature. So the free resource or the learning. So the learning is the key thing that I mentioned earlier. So women can go on here and also we have it both, you can change it into Amharic and English to make it accessible. They can pick topics from family planning, maternal nursing, sexual reproductive health, and then just products. And they can sort through all of these contents that we've designed for them. Short, simple to understand content. Again, that's also in Amharic. For them to kind of learn about it. As soon as somebody learns about something, then it will also recommend other topics. It's quite simple and short, so it doesn't confuse them. And then, again, it'll show related topics and so on. After that, we go into the e-pharmacy. So this is the e-pharmacy that we have currently. Again, we've made sure that it's really clear to understand and so on. We have 8 different categories. Again, all of our products that we are offering currently are SRH related. Down the road, we may expand it so women can also have other products that are relevant. But you can see all of the products that we have online here. It's a simple user-friendly view. You click on it, you can order discreetly, delivery, or pickup. We also have a free resource tab, which has been really, really popular actually from when we launched. So these are free resources for women interested in SRH, pregnancy, for parents to talk about these challenging conversations about nutrition and self-care, so that people can, for example, show you guys if a woman is trying to learn about cycle syncing, doesn't know how, we have a cheat sheet for her. So she can learn about what are the different phases of my menstrual cycle, how do I live my lifestyle according to it, if I'm on my period, what kind of food should I be eating, what kind of workouts should I be doing, and all of these things. So we have kind of this resourceful PDF that they can print and use. We also offer recipes that women can download. For example, this is our morning sickness smoothie. So women can, if they're pregnant and need something, they can download one of these and download instructions on how to make that. So again, the whole lifestyle piece is important. And women have really asked us to add more. They really like this. And the last and most recent feature is the Ask Any Doctor feature, where anyone can go on here and drop a question, a simple question right here, send the question, and then within 24 hours, we get back to them with a response. It can be about our products, it can be about anything. We don't give them doctor consultations, but it's more of like, this is an advice from learning from evidence-based content that we have. So these are our doctors that you saw earlier. So all of these, so it's actually answered by licensed physicians. On that end, there's frequently asked questions that we update as well based on the questions that we're getting. And then let's show you guys the mobile version. So we had different iterations that we've been testing on the mobile app. We haven't launched it publicly yet. We've been testing for quite some time now. I think we can just play. So this is the, let's see if the video is going to play. There we go. Let's try switching that. I think the Wi-Fi is not, it's not even going. It's fine. Okay. So yeah. So anyways, I can just slide through it like this, perhaps. So you enrolled using a one-time password, using your phone number. You got a one-time password for security. Then it goes to your profile, where you have all of your information, general information that you have. And then you have the features that I mentioned earlier. So you have the dashboard, the learning portal, the shopping, and then the home, where you can see. So they can view products directly from their phone. So it's like an e-pharmacy, e-commerce platform. Learn about content. So the content pops up like this. There's a product they want to buy from us. They can learn about the side effects, just general things about it, and make an informed decision about that, and so on. I think the rest is just kind of user experience. So there's some product views on here, for example. So I'll show you the menstrual tracking that we're going to be launching. Like I said, we're testing now. But actually, I'll have Mikias, our head of tech, come up and go through this. No, you can talk about it.
Okay, so this is just the onboarding pages we're going to have on our mobile app. So this is just going to tell you the couple of features you're going to be gaining from our mobile application. So once you're done with that, we'll take you to the login. So one of the comments we got back from our web app was that people wanted to directly sign in and even check out the products before signing in. So the reason we made, if you saw this demo right now on the web app, before we didn't give access to the Ask the YeneDoctor feature, the learning features before signing up. But now we've made it completely free for people to sign, before signing up, to check out those products, then sign in and use the rest of the products. But for the menstrual cycle, we actually need a couple of data for us to get back to you. So we require a sign up, but we've still made it very much easier for you to sign up. You can either use your email, you can use your phone number, or even just a Google account or a Facebook account that you have. So once you put that information, you're directly in the dashboard, and which is the menstrual tracking feature in the front. So another feedback we got from the web app was that we asked too many questions when we were onboarding or signing up users. So even other men that wanted to use the platform were getting asked questions about the menstrual cycle and menstrual tracking cycle that they needed, and which questions weren't supposed to be asked for men. But we made it easier and much more friendlier on our mobile app. So if you're going to be just shopping, we're just going to be asking you basic information and address and pick up phone number. If we're going to be just going on our platform for the Ask the YeneDoctor questions, we're just going to ask you to sign up and simply ask questions and avoid those questions as well. So this feature is going to be available in our different calendar and Gregorian calendar that we use. The next platform that we have, the next option, is going to be our learning platform. So this is what our learning platform is going to be looking like. So you can actually search the different aspects of the different topics. You can favorite them for later use. You can share them with your friends and so on. I just share the details of what it would look like when you go through these topics. The next platform we're going to have is the shop section. So you can also shop on our website, but you can use the same account and go through our mobile app and get our product as well. And as you can see, it's categorized by categories as well as search and filters. The next one we're going to have is the Ask YeneDoctor section of our platform, where you can quickly jump on and ask questions, or even go through the previously asked questions and look at other frequently asked questions and read them as well. And one thing we did that's different from the web application on our mobile application was make it more, was use encryptions to make it more secure and more private for women to ask questions. So in order to ask questions on our web platform, you have to use your email in order for us to get back to you with the answers. But on our mobile platform profile, you can just ask questions and you can get a discrete notification with the answers which you can even customize with whatever text and images you want, as well as we wouldn't be getting any information that you would be entering in your profile when we send it to the doctors, as well as when we view your questions. Basically, this is what it is.
Awesome. Yeah, just one thing to add to this. Thanks, Shaggy. So as you can see, this little bell up here is the alert and notification feature. So right now, it's going to only notify you regarding your menstruation, but eventually, we're going to be integrating it with medicines. Right? If you're taking any medications, you can also be alerted. It's time to take your medication. You're running out, get a refill. So we'll have it automated with the pharmacies that we're working with, so that it can be a more streamlined and optimized experience on that end. That's pretty much it on that end. Let's see, I think the videos are just not working today because of the network. We are working with local influencers that women said that they related with. So I was going to show you one of the videos we are launching with that, but that's fine. Let's see. It's like a 30-second video. Oh. Yeah. So the network, apologies on that, but we're going to be, again, like you said earlier, Dr. Tesfaye, TikTok seemed to be the most popular platform that women were using. So we're partnering with women in that space to launch campaigns online, but also working with university campuses to get this product to be available. It's free for women to use, so there's no charge at all. We collect data and also make it available for them to look at, but also to inform decision making. And that is all from us on the application side. So I am done with that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having a big presentation. Now we can have a 5-minute break just for a toilet and everything. Then we can come back and finish our list of activities. Thank you.
I think ብዙ ሁላችንም ስለሆንበት ይሆን እውነት እኔ ማጠፋው ከስልኬ ላይ አይደል? ኦኬ
Thank you.
Is it hot in here?
Oh yeah, ይሄኛው የሚጮህነትሽን ነው።
It's hot. Oh my god, this is like my tin. There's people online.
Huh? No. So.
Let me get the microphone.
Yeah, let you guys know.
We're live on it. Have a conversation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll get back on it.
Panel.
I don't think so.
For the beginning part.
And so a lot of them experience a lot of different things. So we have just child. No, actually, well, I finished on
Bachelor's
20
22.
Yeah, something. I took a break. I came here to Ethiopia for a year. I wanted to like
such a
find
short time,
myself,
you did
take a
a
mental
lot.
break. Yeah, I'm always
I wish my
active.
kids have that guts to
I'm-
come back here.
Oh, I've always wanted to come back here, and like at the end, I can never change my citizenship. No, they're in the States. They're in DC. My sisters are there too. Married. His foundation. I mean,
I just I've seen it. And I happen to work out at Tilla, so
Yes.
you used to come to Tilla.
Yes, he still does. And with my work, I'm right now, I'm more of a working on diplomacy than anything. I got to meet the president and show her everything that we're doing. We just inaugurated our kindergarten with her, first lady, inaugurated our high school. So I have good connections with Dr. Leah, all the regional secretaries, presidents. Every ambassador, you name it, comes over with connections through him, but also they come in. Like just this week, New Zealand ambassador. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ultimately, I would like to do my own. This is his nonprofit, but in time, I think I definitely want to focus on going towards my own route. When I joined, he said, choose whatever position you want. Got it. So I'm his right hand woman. I run his nonprofit. When I came in, it was men. It was a mess. I was like, what are you guys doing? Do you have children? No. Do you have work cards? No. Programs? Nothing. So international. We have about eight partners so far. International plus local. And, you know, the thing about partnerships here is like companies, let's say they get into these partnerships, somebody throw it away. It's just on paper, just for publicity. But what if the ministry wants it for publicity or not? I don't care. I'm taking that, holding you accountable for it. I'm saying, according to our MOU signed on this date, moving on forward, so being involved. Just help write, rewrite the strategy. And in education for the next 8 years, because there's been I would say like that. So we're involved in a lot of policy. It's so important.
Let's see if it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Science and everything.
And you're trying to change education. Because sometimes I see people that are in actual positions.
No,
They're just
because not present already. That's part of my discussion.
I'm on my way, I think. And I've got the right person that I could help guide me. Is he still working? No, he just has his nonprofit. Yes, he writes his books. And he's constantly guiding me with that, which is good. He has a bunch of, what you call it, honorable doctorates. But being
Has he run to go on education system?
yes, in China. Defense school, China. That's the one for sure. But
I've got one of his
he definitely has influence. Let's just put it that way.
Are you kidding me?
Last time he said there has not been one leader that has not passed through my hands. He is the kingmaker.
So she's the pharmacist. We're working definitely together.
Oh, okay. Very good. Nice meeting you.
For sure. I'm hoping that recently.
አይ እንትን እንትን ላከለ ነበር አንተና ቤት ነው እንትን ስትሮል ማረገው በዚህ
Yes, now it's, but I'm hoping she can inform me about formally ask everything because I need to find out. I've been used to having female bosses, male bosses. It's different. You learn a lot. It opens you up for sure. Expectations are very high. People walk in and they say you need more men than duplicates of her. I get a little worn out. Right now I'm about to launch 4 different programs on a vocational store that Yenka subsidy gave us. So we're going to have youth over, or children over the ages of 12 or 18 work at the store to have income for themselves. So we already gave them training to launch that. Government officials, and then I have to launch a vocational training program for high school for the ones ages 12 and up. And then like kindergarten, because they're already too late to learn all of that. They're in their age appropriate years. And then I have kindergarten, and then we also want to start the daycare. So all 4 by December 10th.
And this is one sub-region.
In or in your region, we have our school, like it's state of the art. We're working with Philips right now. We're in talks with Philips to open up first children's
You
hospital.
already built the
Yeah.
You already built it, or is that something? Is that the one that was taken from?
But we have building like a space that it's already inaugurated.
But that probably is a long time.
Yes, we're right.
I know, get done.
Yeah, I know. It's their we inaugurated that.
Our order system.
It's us. President came big time.
Wow. So is this region based or anyone from India can come and attend? So who funds all this?
And then we fundraise, we have one international. So this is our, we're gonna bring this into.
Bangladesh can build all this. How do you
This
reach
one,
the
this
Bangladesh?
one is the first lady, 1912. This is,
And how do you do that? How do you
we just
manage?
reach out to them and tell them our story and.
All these big states in Bangladesh?
But only went for, well, we didn't even use the $1. That one was for all our programs.
Okay.
Grant. That one I use all for our program. Yeah, 18.
Oh, no, the makeup is yeah, the makeup is the bushes and all that.
Yes, because what it's the real HR officer. We have a good team.
Yes, I mean,
Absolutely. I'm just really happy to be able to take them in and there and we're working with the pediatric. We're going to look at pediatrics and rehabilitation nurse, and the other one is and then we do research. We did prevalence research. Now the numbers are not there, so we're trying to build a national database. Not quite. The numbers are very, very, very low. Even with our research team, it's still trying to even get access to it. And evaluation, early intervention, not at least in the States, not no one being checked. Prevention too. And then it's put in that child find school system. That there's no education law. So pushing for an education law will say, okay, you're getting fined by this, you know. The problem right now, a hierarchy of needs. This is too wicked. Wicked of a problem. Moms will say no.
I'm going to gather people.
It's fantastic. That's fantastic. I'm sitting here and saying to myself, oh, shame on me. I could have invited so many healthcare professionals. Yes. Yes, and there's so many healthcare professionals.
Like, let me write everything.
So much.
Yeah.
We paid about postpartum depression.
Yes. I'm not meaning this.
When you say postpartum depression, the expectations are imagine how younger, how this will be even deeper.
Why are you not loving your child? Yeah,
So you can help us process all
right. I was like,
I'm so overwhelmed. I'm serious.
We'll process it here, we'll process it back there. Because we want the intent to what I'm writing is building bridges, so we can learn from each other. So she's actually very close to me in Pennsylvania, so we're like a few hours drive, but we could do regional in that area.
And then share and does this one. So much others.
yes.
Overwhelmingly.
Yeah. The one here too. Yeah.
And it was so funny. And then when he started, he was in here, he's like, you guys like private school, like,
Yeah, so it's like, it's normal, and then
and then when it comes to talking about peers, they would talk about those things.
yeah,
Yeah, it's so sorry, but
I don't talk to family about it, but my friends totally open to it because of like living in home. Sex is commercialized and it's normal. So for me to have a conversation. But it's we can talk about them and share ideas and how we could overcome whatever it is. Oh, I should have talked about that. I've already understood that.
Oh, okay. We're going to have, then we're going to have to give them so they can do their reflection from the audience, a Q&A reflection. So just let them know, then they can reflect back. Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
All right, everyone, if we can reconvene. Let me just say one thing before we get started. I left a card on your chair. If you did not get a card, please grab one. It's over there. And no one leaves without completing an evaluation. So this is the evaluation. Okay?
Oh, sorry.
So I'm going to share with you the 4 questions. So if you rush for time or anything, you can respond to these 4 questions and be okay. So the first question is your overall rating of the session. So you can rate it from A to D. A is best, B, C, D. So all you need to do is 1 A or whatever. So make it shorthand. Okay. So make sure you put the numbers. And then 1B question. Okay, so I should say 1B question. 1B is reason for rating. So what's your reason for rating it this way? Okay, so you write your reason. Number 2 question is highlight key points or key lessons. Okay, so you can list about 2 or 3 or 4, however many. Future suggestion or things you wish we had covered or would have done. Number 4 is how you would like to remain engaged in this work. And then that's it. That's the evaluation. So please make sure, we don't need your name, but if you're willing, we can take your name and contact information as well. But we do have your contact information, but if you If there's anything you want in terms of remaining engaged, you want to be specific, then we would want that information. Okay? So be as honest as possible. If we did a terrible job, just let us know. But we always seek on how to improve the work that we're doing. So again, if you do not get a postcard, everyone, please make sure you have a postcard. Even people that are, our partners in this effort. No, okay, pen? Okay, pen, so he wants pen. There's pen, yeah, right there. Oh, okay. So we're gonna start. Okay, this is here. So, yeah. So what we're going to do right now is that we will reflect on a few points that were heard from the earlier session, and also share a little bit of our work or our perspective. So the panelists here can do a combination of both, or just focus on responding to some key points that they heard, and also questions or suggestions for YeneHealth. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to do a combination where I'm going to just highlight some issues. I'm going to highlight some issues around sexual and reproductive health, updates, statistics, and information. I'm going to go very briefly through that, and then share some perspectives from my work around sexual health, and also consideration for YeneHealth. So I'm going to share with you some key information then on sexual and reproductive health, some data. And this is data that we actually collected for a study that we're doing at Hopkins. We're doing a landscape analysis of gender equity in health in 11 countries. And the 11 countries include Ethiopia, Rwanda, Kenya, Cameroon, Senegal, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Morocco, and Mozambique, and I'm missing one country, I don't remember. So this is the preliminary information that we shared as part of that report. But I will inform you when we complete the 11 country study. And the plan for Hopkins is that we're going to hold a regional conference on gender equity in health. It's going to be held in next summer in July 2023. We're exploring various places, either Kenya, Rwanda, or Ethiopia. Rwanda might be out because we found out that for the time that we wanted, the hotels are completely booked. So we might do it in Kenya. I really would love to have it in Ethiopia, but I'm hearing that because of uneasiness regarding the social and the political climate here, some people feel like they're having difficulty coming to Ethiopia. So we may not have it in Ethiopia. But anyway, when we have this conference, I will inform you. So we're going to share the results of these 11 country studies, and we're going to build on work of sexual health and reproductive health in these 11 countries by identifying coaches and paying coaches to enhance the work that's being done in each of the 11 countries and provide technical assistance and support. So that is the project that we have at Hopkins. So I'll just share some key information from that study. And I'm just going to mostly put this on the PowerPoint and just highlight a few key points that might be of interest. So when we think about access to healthcare, it is really challenging when we have almost the entire population not fully covered by health insurance. So we're talking about 95% of women and about 95% of men. Life expectancy and child mortality, I'll just briefly touch. So infant mortality rate, so we really have some challenges where we have 1 out of 17 children in Ethiopia dying before they reach the age of 5. Life expectancy at birth is really growing, so grown a lot from 43.2 to 66.9, so almost 67 years old. That's really a good statistics to be proud of and share. So, but the challenges that we have is maternal mortality rate, where we are unlikely to meet the SDG target of 70 per 100,000 population, because we are at 412 per 100,000 population in terms of maternal mortality rate. And if we're looking at then gender-based violence, we have laws against female genital mutilation. It's been over 16 years since we have laws, but if you look at the rates, and especially for the younger kids from the age of 0 to 14, the rates remains unchanged. So we have a lot of work that we need to do on that issue. However, we have decreased significantly among adolescents between the age of over the age of 14. So we have about 71% in 2000 to 52% in 2016. And if you think FGM is only an issue here in the U.S., it seems like we carry our culture to other places as well. So in America, we have within the Ethiopian population the practice of female genital mutilation. And to my astonishment, the deacon of the church where I was a president was actually practicing FGM. And I had no idea that people in our church were practicing FGM. It took a while for the U.S. to catch on regarding issues around FGM, and it was only recently that they put laws against FGM. And then one of the persons, one of the first folks that were actually penalized as a result of FGM was an Ethiopian living in Atlanta, where he was served 10 years prison sentence for having FGM with his 4-year-old daughter. The reason it was revealed is that he was going through divorce, so that was one of the things that the mother brought up, but she didn't bring it up until the divorce proceedings, which happened later. So I wonder in terms of really the role that sometimes we play in this thing, because for me it's very hard for women to have a 4-year-old child and not know that they have gone through FGM, and that the husband can do it alone. So I think we honestly share some of the challenges and the works that we need to do with women and also with men around this issue of female genital mutilation. So the laws are in place, except, cultural practices, it takes a long time to make changes, and policies are developed. Are they implemented? That's also really challenging situation to actually consider. And then women in the workforce, and specifically in health workforce, you see the population here in terms of health workforce, and that women make up health extension workers and midwifery. But when you look at higher scale in terms of professional ladder, women are definitely underrepresented in terms of managers, and also underrepresented in terms of female doctors. And one of the things that we found out from studies and data with women in terms of sexual and reproductive health is that the lack of access to female doctors is one of the issues that they cite around challenges in terms of sexual and reproductive health needs. And then, then the last slide on reproductive health is that there is the National Reproductive Health Strategy, and we have the National Adolescent and Youth Health Strategy Initiative. So all this information and data is available from these sources. It is all part of an effort to do a better job of data. And as Tesfaye said, that is a major challenge, that we have accurate data, access to data. So we need to continue to build on that. And sometimes when we even have data, the accuracy of the data is questionable. So when I look at the data that says the prevalence of knowledge about modern contraception increased significantly for adolescents from 68 to 70% to almost 95 to 97%, I'm like, really? Almost 100% of our adolescents know about contraceptive choices? That is a surprise. Is it a surprise to you? I see nods. Yeah. I mean, so again, the accuracy of this information is important to really consider. And so, incidence of women having an unmet need for family planning fell from 36% to 22%. So we are making improvement in addressing the needs and the challenges of women regarding their reproductive health. So a few points that I would like to make then is that we know, I mean, there's a proverb that says, educate a woman and you educate a nation, right? So an educated woman creates an educated family, more able to nurture this educational achievement of her child. An educated woman makes higher income. An educated woman invests more of her wealth, of the money that she gets to the improvement of her family. Growing up in Ethiopia, about 60 years ago, when I was born, the population was about 48 million when I left Ethiopia around 1976. The population is over 110 million, 120 million at this point. So we clearly have a population issue, family planning issue. And interestingly, when I first started college at School of Public Health at Columbia, the major challenge, the major discussion about population is what comes first. Does population control comes first before development? Or development comes first and then families have less children? So, I mean, that debate still continues. Do women need to feel like their kids that they bring to this world are going to survive? So if we build that assurances, then they're less likely to have larger families. Is that so? Those debates actually continue to this day, and there are challenges and the myths and a taboo conversation or around population control, family planning in Africa, really thinking that Bill Gates has a major plan for us in Africa. Whatever it is, but it's a very important conversation for us to have. So then growing up, where, let me share with you in terms of the boys' experiences growing up at that time when I was growing up, boys were encouraged to explore sexually. And even be, permissive, have sex with as many young people as you want. It is part of the expectation that you have. And but then in terms of their access to women was limited, so they engage in abusive behavior, where oftentimes the maids that work in houses were actually raped, were actually seen as just a way for the sexual escapades of young people when they were growing up. And if that is not the case, then it is really going to prostitutes or sex workers. So sex was seen as something for pleasure that men should really explore from the young age and continue to on. And then when they get into a family setting, it's like that dominant behavior in terms of the parent, the role that they play within the family as their lead role. Now let me share with you then that for the girls, it is completely the reverse. Girls are to suppress their sexuality and not flaunt it as well. The expectation is that girls should be virgins, and that expectation still continues today. And non-virgins are shamed or expelled from home, as we discussed earlier in our group. So completely removed from family. I know in my own setting, my mom made it clear that if you engage in sexual practices, you're going to humiliate our family and you're going to be out of the family. So the choice is yours. The female genital mutilation continues to exist, as I mentioned, and that sex was not for pleasure. Sex was purely for procreation. And so women, that's how they were raised, and to be submissive. And then in their role in terms of the family structure, it was to support and nurture the family structure. So 60 years later, even though we're still human beings, we are sexual human beings, women, and God created us that way. So one of the things that I say is that when men think that we are not sexual being. God wanted us to be sexual being women. And the reason why I say this is that when you think about our bodily structure of human beings, the only bodily structure